Oh man. Ooh boy. It's Friday night. Hey, let's talk football. So man, I'm jacked up. I got an energy drink. I don't need it. I don't need it. So here's the drill. I just give you an idea of how my week went. I did a 3-round mock draft review from the NFL Network. Then I looked at some other mock drafts. And there's one, it was actually two from CBS Sportsline. And I called my buddy Boofa. Oh, Boofa's in the chat here. So I called my buddy Boofa and I said, Mike, man, I mean, what the hell did these guys do any research at all? And he's like, well, sometimes you just gotta get stuff out there. And I remember thinking, you got like Stephen A. Smith and you have Shannon Sharp, and they're basically like shock jocks. They're basically like Howard Stern. They basically just come up and just say things, and it's more entertainment than value. Then I came across this 3-round mock draft from USA Today. And normally I give no credence to USA Today. And I looked at this mock draft and I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So I did a video of it. And so I stayed up till about 6, 7 in the morning last night making that video. So if you haven't watched it, I just decided to release it an hour ago. I saw One Pride commenting on it already. And if you're a Lions fan, like this is like your dream draft. You trade down twice in the first round. You end up getting Witherspoon and Bijan Robinson. You also end up with Noah Sewell. Got the defensive tackle out of Wisconsin, which is a great pick. So the Lions basically have like an A+ draft. Chiefs do some good stuff. I normally don't give any credit to USA Today. When I watch USA Today or I see a mock draft from USA Today, I kind of like cringe and say, why am I not employed by a major news publication? Because I could do a better job. This one, I can't do better. It was a great 3-round mock draft. Phenomenal. The show today, I'm normally I have an outline of things I want to talk about. There's a lot of interesting topics. Eric Bieniemy is now the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. I want to touch base on that because it's very interesting. A lot of people don't think this is a big deal. I do. Travis Kelce is going to host Saturday Night Live in a few weeks. It's important, but not the way you think. And I mean, we got some mock draft talk, and so basically everything's open, man. Anything you want to talk about, all questions will be answered. Anything goes. So, Kalea Chansey to the Lions 2 play. Yeah. So this is a guy I need to watch some more film of, because in one mock draft he goes early in the first round, the other one it's late in the second. I got to watch some more film of him because I'm hearing shades of Aaron Donald because of his size, because he also played at Pitt, and then I'm also hearing this is a guy who's just not very good. I haven't watched enough of him myself. I got to find out some more information. My buddy Mike's in the house. By the way, Mike agreed. I'm going to have the draft. I'm going to do the draft live. We're gonna live stream the draft. I'm going to try to get some guests on. Mike has agreed to come on to do the draft live with me. I was like, man, are you sure? It could be like 5 hours. He goes, I'm going to have a bottle of scotch. And anyway, I was going to try to do the Beastie Boys quote. I'm not going to do that. But Mike said he's going to come on. So I got one guest guaranteed. My boy Gooch also said he might be interested. And Lexi from the Kingdom Queens also mentioned that she would be interested. I don't have confirmations from Gooch and Lexi yet, but I'm hopeful to have both of them on in the near future. I also want to get Luke G of the Luke G Field Review back on to talk some more draft. I want to wait till free agencies hit before I get some more guests on to talk draft. But I'm lucky. If you haven't been paying attention, I went to Luke G show twice this week. I had to educate some Lions fans on some cold, hard facts. And I also find out And by the way, I don't understand. I still don't understand it. Lions fans hate the idea of a tight end going to Detroit at 18, which makes a lot of sense. It just makes sense. So, what are you gonna do, brother, when one pride mania runs wild on you? You know what? I can't do a Hulk Hogan voice, or I would. But I love one pride mania. OPM. I love it. OPM. You know, seriously, man, you can use that if you want. Instead of one pride 40, a little OPM action. So it was awesome. I had a great workout the last time I tuned in. Hey, James, it's good to know that you're working out, brother. That is very, very important. So you know what, Mike? All right. Mike's camera is on. Bring me up. All right, Mike. You know what? Let's do it here. Let's see if we can get Mike on here. Let me see here, Mike. Do. All right, Mike, give me one moment. I am going to bring you on. Let me see here. Okay, Mike, do me a favor. Okay, fantastic. Okay, this is not going to work. Give me one moment here, Mike. I am going to bring you on. I just have to figure out how to do it from here. So bear with me one moment. I'm gonna do it this way, Mike. All right. All right. So Mike, do me. Kind of funny. I save some people. You have first name. Some people you have last name. So I save Mike as is my email in my. So Mike, do me a favor. Check your email, and I sent the link to you there. So yeah, come on in. This is going to be great. I was not even planning on this. So yeah, Mike, the link is there. Come on in. Let me know if it doesn't work. Funk, what is up, brother, man? Yeah, I got to go on Luke G's show. We talked some Lions. Lions fans hate the idea of a tight end. I don't understand why. I really don't. A tight end at 18 to me makes a lot of sense for the Detroit Lions. But Luke G and everybody else does not like it. So you need to connect Mike from the stream. Okay, so bear with me here. I'm going to get all these questions answered. Need to connect. All right, so Mike, bear with me here. I'm having technical difficulties. Need to connect. Yeah, we're having, so bear with me, Mike. I'm having technical difficulties here bringing you on. I'm not sure why. Do me a favor. I'm going to disconnect this link. Okay, so bear with me here. All right, so yeah, Mike, I'm not really. Okay, here we go. So, Mike, you should be on now. All right, so he was on for like 1 second. So, Mike, are you there, brother?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay, so guys, we got a special treat. I got Mike. Well, never mind. We did have Mike. So, Mike, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm right in that hive. Can you do that game?
Hey man, hey, listen, we're gonna get through some comments here. Come on and jump in, man. It is so good to have you on, man. So I'm kind of surprised by this. Mike says he wants to come on. He wants to come on, Mike. Now everybody wants to know, are you going to get divorced? Because we all know your wife hates me.
You're so full of it.
By the way, his wife, Terry, is phenomenal. She's awesome. I probably should quit joking around about that. You know, somebody's going to believe me. But Mike, I am personally just really thrilled to have you on. I'm still wearing Chiefs gear. I'm excited about this. I don't know if you got a chance to check out my 3-round mock draft from USA Today. What a great job by USA Today. Really surprised about that. Eric Bieniemy is the Washington Commanders offensive coordinator. Travis Kelce's going to host Saturday Night Live in a few weeks. Man.
What a time to be a Kansas City fan. And he was on Fallon last night, Kelsey. Mahomes was on Kimmel the other night. Yeah, it's crazy. Kansas City has hit the big time for once.
Well, you know, it's I don't watch either one of those late night talk show hosts, so I didn't see the interviews. Yeah, but I think it's really cool. I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in years. I don't know if I'm going to watch it live, but I am going to see the clips. I'm hoping like there's a cameo with either Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid, like they come in for like a sketch. Mike is disconnected, but we're going to bring him back here. So we're going to bring him back. We're having technical difficulties here.
Yeah, my system like that. No, I figured Paul Rudd will show up and different things.
And so we got this from Funky Lions fan. Why did the Lions get in the trade comp with Noah Sewell's a hard pass who living off his brother named? Like, you know, I don't know. I kind of like Noah Sewell, to be perfectly honest with you. The only issue I have with Noah Sewell is that he's going to weigh in at about 250, 260. I don't know if he's a 3-down linebacker. I don't know if he can play on 3rd down. I don't know if he can cover backs, tight ends, receivers. This might be a guy who's only available to play rounds or downs 1 and 2. If he goes to the combine and he shows that he can move, he knows that when I say move, I'm not worried about his 40. I want to see his movement skills into position drills. Can he flip his hips? Can he turn? Can he run? And if he can, I like him to Detroit in the 2nd round. So, but yeah, I get it. I slammed Andre the Giant in front of 15,001 prank. Yeah, Luke G was nice enough to let me come on his show a couple times this week, and I absolutely love going on there. Mike, maybe you can help me. Maybe you can explain this to me. Lions fans do not want a tight end at all. The Lions pick 6 and they pick 18. And I see a lot of mock drafts where the Lions take a tight end at 18, and I'm just seeing a hand into a glove. I see something that just makes a lot of sense. Explain to me why Lions fans hate this. Maybe you can do a good job.
I have no idea, but, you know, we're kind of biased here in Kansas City, and we've gone from Tony Gonzalez to Travis Kelce. We like our tight ends a lot. I love a good tight end. He's a great safety valve. They're great in the pass game if they can block and help in an extra blocker out there. It seems like a win-win. You got a decent quarterback, a decent team. You got a good running back. A tight end just opens things up for the running back, helps open lanes and block for him. It seems like a no-brainer. That's a great pick.
Oh, I think so too. And Funk brings up a good point. The moment Ben Johnson took over, tight ends don't get targeted. That's a problem with your offensive coordinator, and that's something your offensive coordinator needs to do. If you have a piece of the puzzle and he's not using them, a lot of Lions fans think that because he had a good stretch last year with the shit defense that he's just the second coming of Bill Walsh. That's not the case. Ben Johnson just needs to do his job better, folks. If you get a good tight end, especially at 18, use him. If you're not using him, then get somebody else in there. Listen, when you have the worst defense in the NFL and your offense scores a lot of points, it's not completely because your offense is great. So, me and Luke I'm going to have Luke G back on. Luke G's coming back on. So Anthony. So by the way, folks, I don't have a link, but ROTL, it's Roar of the Lions from the UK. He is phenomenal. I got to join him on Luke G's show. I should have, Anthony. I'm sorry, I don't have a link. Roar of the Lions from across the pond. He has a great channel. This is a really smart, educated Lions fan, football fan, really smart guy here. If you go to my channel, there's a Luke G field review. There. You can find Roar of the Lions UK. Follow his YouTube channel. He has some great content. So, Anthony, thank you so much for joining. Anthony, educate me why, if you have a really good tight end, why wouldn't you want to use them? Because whether it's Mike Meyer or Dalton Kincaid, that makes a lot of sense at 18. It really does.
Yeah.
So no, DeAndre Swift is there. Jamal Williams is gone. The only running back who's under contract for the Detroit Lions is DeAndre Swift. So the mock draft from USA Today, they have Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas, and I don't like using player comps. I really hate doing that. I think it's lazy, but if you haven't watched this guy play yet, the closest thing I could compare him to would be Todd Gurley with no health issues. Todd Gurley messed up his knee is last season at Georgia, and he missed the last half of the season. He was 10th overall. He was the 10th overall draft pick. I've seen a mock draft where Bijan Robinson goes 3 to Arizona. That's not going to happen. I can promise you that. But if you can get him at 23 or at 18, that would be a steal. I don't think he falls that far.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. No, I don't think so.
No, but John Robinson in Detroit makes a lot of sense. I'd have to look it up, and again, it's not. I'm not comparing the two players, but Earl Campbell was running back out of Texas. Earl Campbell hit the NFL. I think he was MVP as a rookie. I'm not 100% sure about that. That's the type of impact that John Robinson would have. He would come in. He's an MVP. To Detroit, with that offensive line, he would be an MVP candidate. I would actually put a $25 bet, and I would get like a 5,001 odds or something crazy. I may end up being rich. I can afford a bottle of Booth's Scotch finally.
Yeah.
That's my reason for no tight end in the first. Just everybody hates the last 3 tight ends the Lions took in the first. Pettigrew, Ebron, and even Hutchinson got a ton of hate. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I get that. Mike Williams, Charles Rogers, Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson. You hit. You hit. You just don't whiffle. You don't say, well, Charles Rogers and Mike Williams didn't work out, so we're going to pass on Calvin Johnson. You don't do that. You don't do that. I just ask that,
it's completely different talent evaluators now, too. And you got Dorsey running that personnel department. If he says, no, we should take this guy, 9 times out of 10, Dorsey's right. You take him.
By the way, do you know what Dorsey, his first year in Kansas City, you know what he did in the 3rd round? Do you remember, Mike?
3rd round, first year. Let me think. The first pick was what, Eric Fisher?
It was Eric Fisher.
2nd rounder. Do we even have a 2nd rounder?
I think we gave that up. Do you remember what we did in the 3rd round?
I know. I'm trying to think.
I'll give you a hint. He's hosting Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that was the Kelsey pick. I was thinking Kareem, but Kareem was the next year.
Oh, yeah. Kareem.
No, not the next year. He was
line.
Same year as Mahomes. That would have been 2017 draft, 2018.
Yeah, and it's actually funny. I remember when they drafted Kelsey, and I'm a draft junkie. I remember I said, who the hell is this guy? And I didn't know. I put him on the trading blocks. Are you referring to I'm trying to figure out who you're talking about, when you put him on the trading blocks. I thought Swift was really good at times. He was playing like it was his last season. I wanted Swift in Kansas City because I think Andy Reid would have been able to use him right. I don't know if you're using him right, because this is a guy I don't want between the tackles at all. I want him on the outside. I want him catching about 70 to 80 passes. And
Ooh, yeah.
this is a guy that I would want in Kansas City. That's why I kind of like John Robinson, is because you get a bigger back and you get a smaller back. So, Funk, I've only seen some highlights, and I haven't watched a lot of Oregon. I'm not a big Oregon fan. There's times, there's some highlights where he looks really good. But the thing is, I don't see him playing in pass coverage. I like him in rounds 1 and 2. I'm sorry, first, second down. So your offensive coordinator needs to find a way to use tight ends.
Yeah, he's got to learn that skill.
Yeah. By the way, if you watch the USA Today 3-round draft that I just released, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. He's a guard out of USC. He would be a day 1 starter, and you get him in the 3rd round. That's why that 3-round mock draft. You get Sewell, the defensive tackle out of Wisconsin. That's a guy I absolutely love. He would be, actually, to tell you the truth, he might be a guy that we lose Kalen Sanders. I wouldn't mind taking him in Kansas City. You get Sewell. You get Bajon Robinson, and then you trade down for Witherspoon. So you'd end up getting, let me see if I got all this right. You get Witherspoon, day 1 starter at corner, Bajon Robinson, day 1 starter at running back. I think his name's Becton, defensive tackle, helps in your rotation. You get Noah Sewell, helps in your linebacker rotation, 2 players to improve your front 7. The guard out of USC, I want to say Bory, something like that, day 1 starter at guard. So, yeah, you don't need a high. You don't take it. If you think you're taking a guard at 18, that's a good move instead of a tight end. I don't see that at all. Oh, my God, I got Keys. Keys, I've missed you, brother. Keys, I got Bufa. Gooch has said he'd help out with the draft. I'd love for you to help out with the draft as well. So hopefully you can. No cocaine. Just energy drinks. And Bufa is drinking. So for those of you who don't know, Bufa drinks $300 a bottle scotch only.
Oh, it's not that much.
It's like $275. So. Okay, so let me explain something. When you have a really, really bad defense, the 32nd ranked defense, which you had, having a great offense is partly because you had a really bad defense. But to sit here and say that Ben Johnson's second coming to Bill Walsh, he's not. To sit here and if you draft a tight end at 18, a really good tight end like Michael Mayer or Dalton Kincaid, and you don't use them because you don't want to use tight ends, that's an indicator that, hey, Ben Johnson needs to do a better job. To sit here and say that you're completely fine on offense, I don't think is really the case. In free agency, I was on Luke G. In free agency, Luke G pointed out how you could bring in 4 new starters on defense just in free agency. All right. So you have 4 draft picks in the first 2 rounds. Why wouldn't you use one of those picks on a tight end when this is a tight end heavy draft and you have a hole at tight end?
Makes perfect sense.
Me and Mike don't have a dog in the fight, and we're telling you guys this makes a lot of sense. A guy like Dalton Kincaid, who has a very similar skill set to Travis Kelce, Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame 2-3 years from now might be the best tight end in football. I think he has that type of upside. I know he wears 87. He's built like Gronk. He plays like Gronk. He wears 87. Like, this might be the future of the NFL at tight end, Michael Mayer, and you can get him if you're the Detroit Lions. Why not use him? You know,
they make good fullbacks in short yardage situations. Yeah, they're just such a versatile position if you have a skilled one.
So Justin Jackson's not under contract. Swift is. That's the issue. Swift is the only running back on the Detroit Lions that's under contract. He's the only one. So the question is, do you want to re-sign Justin Jackson or not? And that's something you guys would have to say. That's something you guys would have to consider. James, for the right price. Funk, our offense was elite last year. I'm not sure that your offense was elite. It was really, really good. But to sit here and to go into the offseason and say we don't need to do anything with our offense, I would question that. And yeah, 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. if you trade down from pick number 6, which all you guys want to do, why wouldn't you add to the offense? But I mean, it's a different type of scenario. But Kansas City brought players into our offense. I mean, you lose Tyreek Hill, but I'm telling you right now, if the Chiefs, okay, in that USA Today mock draft, the Chiefs trade up in the first round for a wide receiver, and that just makes sense. The Chiefs offense is not just going to sit back and say we're fine. No, they're going to add pieces. So
this is where Dan and I always agree. I don't like wide receivers in the first round. But
yeah, me and Mike disagree there. Yes.
I
like Quentin Johnson. He's my wide receiver number 1. So I do like that pick.
We could use a big strong one. Because I was talking to somebody today and I was trying to figure out who all we have under contract. Because Watson's a free agent, Juju's a free agent, McCole Hardman's a free agent. You're only left with they stashed Justin Ross on IR, so you have him. You have Tony. You have Sky Moore. Oh, Watson's a free agent as well.
Yeah.
You have Marcus Kemp, and you have MVS.
Mm-hmm.
It's thin. So, I mean, I don't like it, but, yeah, it's a possibility.
By the way, it wouldn't surprise me, though, if we did draft Quentin Johnson, who I have a huge man crush on.
Yeah, you've been talking about him a lot.
Yeah, 3 to 4 years from now, he's Patrick Mahomes' favorite target. But me and you disagree, and I do want to talk about this. I'm going to get some comments because I want to hear. I do have a kind of a hot take on Travis Kelce. So, by the way, I like Darnell Washington too. If you're not familiar with Darnell Washington, he's like 6'6", 6'7", 270. He's a tight end out of Georgia. I don't think he's going to run as well as people think. So I think he's going to slide into the second round. That would be a good pick for Detroit in the second round. The mock draft from USA Today had him going to Tennessee, which I think would be a great fit and a great pick. Jamal scored 17 rushing touchdowns last year. Broke Barry Sanders' single season touchdown record. He's a free agent. All right. He's going to want to get paid. And I went on Luke G's show because I kept hearing Lions fans say, he's going to take a hometown discount. He's going to take a hometown discount. Why? All right. If you're going to go and take a hometown discount, you're going to get a hometown discount for a place you want to go to. Detroit's not a destination location. You don't have favorable weather. You don't have favorable tax rules. It's not a Super Bowl contender. It's not like he's going to, Dallas or like the Rams were last year or Kansas City. People aren't taking hometown discounts to go to Detroit. And I went on Luke G's show, and Luke G agreed with me. So, like, that's something that you guys kind of, like, every fan base thinks that their team, people want to go there. That's not the case. It's really not the case. So Jamal, listen, he wants to get paid. He's not coming back to Detroit cheap. I mean, he said he scored 17 touchdowns last year. He did everything he wanted to. He exceeded expectations for under market value. So you can't bring him back cheap.
Yeah, he had a hell of a year. And yeah, the hometown discount thing, we all believe it, but in the end, it's a business. And Tyreek Hill is a perfect example. He got his ring, and now he wants to be the highest paid wide receiver, and he achieved his goal. And, wish him the best. The man's talented. But he didn't take a discount to stay with them, and he was like, I'm out.
No, so, it's a business. I don't have a problem with players trying to get as much money as they can. I don't have a problem with that. I'm one of the few Chiefs fans. I wish Tyreek Hill all the best. I mean,
totally.
You had a great year. Great job for Tyreek. Get that money. Yeah. Get that money. I had a buddy of mine tell me, well, it was only $5 million. $5 million a year is still a lot of money. I understand inflation and everything, but, Mike, I'm going to tell you something. If you told me you would give me $500,000 a year, I would move to Miami right now, and I don't even know anybody there.
Oh, yeah. I have family down there, so it'd be great for me. But Yeah, no state. And Tyreek said something. He comes across goofy, but he said when he made the decision, because we were all hoping the Jets was where he was going so we get a better draft pick. And Tyreek said, he goes, in the end, he goes, well, Florida has no state income tax. He goes, I had to make a grown up decision. So it was a smart business decision. They really talked to him and his agent and everybody, whoever's advising him, they were smart about it. And that, God bless. He's still one of my all-time favorite Chiefs. Always will be.
Oh, I love him. By the way, Anthony, I'm not going to lie to you. I forgot about James Mitchell, and I forgot about who he was. The former, if I'm correct, the former Virginia Tech quarterback that you moved. So that. By the way, when I was on Luke G's show, nobody mentioned James Mitchell, so I forgot about Mitchell. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I forgot about James Mitchell because he was a guy I was looking at in last year's draft. I forgot about him. So thank you for bringing that up, man, because I completely forgot about James Mitchell. That makes sense. Now I'm on board with the Lions not taking the tight end at 18, but you got to use him and you got to develop him because it's a raw prospect. Listen, I think Mike Meyer could be the best tight end in football in 2 to 3 years. Dalton Kincaid reminds me a lot of Travis Kelce. I don't think he's going to run that well at the combine. I think he's going to run in like 4.7, 4.8 range, so he's going to dip. But this is a guy that reminds me a lot of Kelce. He was Utah's number one receiver as a quote-unquote tight end. But you got to use him like Kelce. Don't have him in line blocking. So, if not, be John Robinson, who would be a good fit at running back. Well, here's the deal. If you got a guy like Swift, who's smaller, good receiver, got great speed, I want somebody with some size. Anybody with some size. That's what I would like. If you want to move on from Swift, he's not your long-term answer. You get a guy like Tyrese. I think it's Tyrese Sparks, the running back out of Tulane, smaller guy, blew up at the Senior Bowl. His stock is just skyrocketing through the roof. You can get him in the second round, but you draft a guy like that if you want to move on from Swift. I want to compare and contrast. I want running backs that have different sizes, different styles to do things different. That would kind of be my answer here, and I'm kind of giving you a runaround, but sorry. There's more lion in here than a White House secretary. Mike, you and Keys need to like get together one time, not in this type of format, and just talk politics one of these times.
Oh, that'd be awesome. It'd be fun.
Yeah. Keys has some really great stuff, by the way.
I'm still in that line. That's awesome.
Maybe Ben just wants to throw to wide receivers like they are wide receivers, and you're talking about Steele in the third for KC as opposed to a premium pick. I'm sorry. I'm missing something. You say get a stud and use them like a wide receiver. Maybe Ben just wants to throw to wide receivers like they are wide receivers. And you talk about getting a steal in the third for KC as opposed to a premium pick. I'm sorry, Funk. I'm missing. I'm not understanding what you're going here. The Lions don't need a tight end, even if Breck Wright is out. James Mitchell. I forgot completely about Mitchell, James. I apologize because this was a guy I was kind of eyeballing last year, and I was kind of thinking like if Kansas City snuck him late, I forgot completely about him. I really did. So that's on me. That's on me. Yeah, I like Quentin Johnson a lot too, Funk. He reminds me a lot of Julio Jones. He really does. I'm not the quarterback for TCU. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I'm not as high on him as a lot of people. A lot of people feel like he's got a future in the NFL. I'm not sold on him. I think you're playing with like a less. You didn't have the best quarterback play, and don't get me wrong. I'm drawing a blank. Max Duggins, that's his name. Okay, great college quarterback. I don't think he's a future NFL quarterback. Prove me wrong. I'd love it. Quentin Johnson reminds me a lot of Julio Jones. He's 6'4", he's 215. He's going to run well. He could do things in the open field. I love this kid. Seriously, it makes a lot of sense at 18. It does. It really does. In the USA Today draft, the Lions trade down both. They go from 6 to 9 and 18 to 23. And the fun thing is when they go 18 to 23, they trade with Minnesota again. And it just makes sense. And, the Lions, if the USA Today mock draft, if that actually happened for the Lions, like, you could not do any better. You really couldn't. So. But Buffa, why do you get all this love here? Denver Gators are regular, and Buffa. I know, man. I know.
I haven't got to talk to Denver in ages, man.
Oh God, everybody loves Buffa. I don't get. How come I don't get this much love, Mike?
Hey, it's hard, man. You know how much time it takes me in the bathroom getting ready. I can lift my back whenever I leave the house. It's just nuts, man. The paparazzi, everything. I mean, it's not an easy life, brother.
I'm not on drugs. Okay. Zylstra and Wright lead the Lions in receiving touchdown. Ben uses his no-name guys. Yeah, you know what? Seriously, again, it don't make sense, Dan. I'm going to be honest with you. I forgot about Mitchell completely, Funk. That's an error on my part. That makes sense because I loved Mitchell last year. He's a guy you can build around. So I'm on board now. If the Lions not taking a tight end at 18, I'm on board now. So you can thank ROFL UK and kudos because over in the UK, I think they're 6 hours ahead of us. So it's like 2:30 in the morning. So the last 10 weeks, the Lions had the top half of the league defense. Just FYI. If you think that you don't need to add players to the defense, I'd be a little cautious. But if you go, I always use Pro Football Reference. Okay, that's my number one tool when I go looking at stats and looking at teams. And I'm looking at the Lions, thanks to Pro Football Reference, 28th in points, 32nd in yards. So I'm using a lot of draft capital and free agency trying to build up that defense. But I'm not sitting on the offense and saying, "Hey, no, we're not doing anything." So I Keys. By the way, I've missed you, man. I've missed you. He was on live, and it was funny. I didn't get a notification, so like I joined like the last 20 seconds of his show, kind of celebrating the Chiefs and everything.
Oh, nice.
I wouldn't trade up for a wide receiver. I'd trade up for an offensive tackle or edge, but I do agree that even with the number one offense still wanted added to. If you haven't already, check out both of the 3-round mocks. It's kind of interesting what Kansas City does. In one, they trade out of round one, and they get the offensive tackle, Darnell Wright, the guy out of Tennessee, and he would be a day one starter on the right side, in my opinion. The USA Today, they trade up in round one and they get Quentin Johnson. But it's fun because you got the Chiefs doing all sorts of craziness in the first. The only universal truth is that they're going to get creative in round one and they're going to trade either up or down. And I think the answer is yes. I tell you, the one thing I don't think Kansas City does is wait till 31 to do something. I think they're going to trade up or down. And in my opinion, I think they're going to trade up.
Yeah, when has Veach ever stayed put? I mean, have we ever seen that? Yeah.
I mean, so you get so what the drill is that they got, I think, 14 draft picks. They don't have 14 holes. So yeah. And people forget about Mitchell. I did, Funk. I completely forgot about James Mitchell because he was a guy I was circling for Kansas City because you get Chiefs love former quarterbacks. And by the way, just take a look at the Washington Commanders tight end, and I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. Same situation to Virginia Tech. He was a quarterback, switched to tight end, and he looks really, really good. So, yeah, I completely forgot about that. And by the way, Mitchell switched, if I remember correctly, he switched in college. He switched in college. So it wasn't like he arrived to Detroit as a former quarterback. I think he played a year of tight end at Virginia Tech before he came in. So People forget he fell in the draft because of injury. He was a day 2 guy, easy. Got to invest in him. Yeah, I did forget about him completely, and I did forget he was injured. But yeah, he would have been like a second, third round player. He was a guy I really was hoping Kansas City would take a look at late. So yeah, I forgot about him. So that's on me. You're a wrestler now. You know what? I'm not familiar with you, man. Welcome to the show. Hit that subscribe button. So Luke G likes to have like an open forum. I usually don't do that. And the reason why is that this is the exception where Mike just says, Dan, I want to come on. Mike has an open invite. Me and Mike, how long have we known each other, Mike? 10 years?
Oh,
something like that.
Something like that.
It's been a while. Mike's a good friend, whether he's on the show or whether he's not on the show. But usually what I do is that if you come on my show, I give you an outline of questions I ask you. You can ask Lexi. I sent her like a really long Twitter conversation. I said, we're going to talk about this. With Luke G, I do send Luke G notes, but for the most part, I can just plug and play Luke G on. I don't just have random people I don't know come on my show. That's something that I may change in the future, but hit the subscribe button because I don't recognize you. All my social media links are below. DM me. I respond to those. I put comments in, and I can have you on in the future. But I don't just open it up normally. I may change my mind in the future. Mike has an open invite. He can come on anytime, and I've said this to Mike over the years. And he's been a long-time guest before his. I should quit joking around about Terry. Somebody's going to take it serious. So. No, my schedule wouldn't allow him to come on. He was a regular for several. For several weeks, but his schedule's chaotic and crazy. So,
yeah, I'm trying to work on that so I can come on more. I miss it. But this thing, I got to tell you, Dan is just fibbing a little. This thing where he gives the guest the outline. I never get any outline. We just free form, just like we always do, whether we're on the phone. We're at the range. We're out to lunch. It's just a free form. And it's fine.
Mike, Mike's good enough. He gets on. Luke G gets an outline. Lexi gets an outline.
Oh, yeah, Lexi. Of course she gets an outline. Yeah, I see where this is going.
Let's predict who hasn't been on in a while. Keys, if I can get Keys to come on. Keys, you're not getting an outline. Keys. I want to tell you something about Keys. Keys is organized and he'll have his bullet points ready. I'm going to tell you something. I dare you to argue with Keys because he'll fire back with about 7 bullet points with links and data and everything. And this is why I absolutely love Keys. And I'm kind of geeked out because I got my boy Mike on. I also got Keys in the chat. And Keys, by the way, Gooch said he'd come on for the draft. I want to get you too.
Oh yeah, we need guests. We have plans for the draft. We need to talk about it more, how we envision it. I'm more an MC type. Dan's got the massive knowledge. I'm more direct, keep the conversation rolling. So that's more my strength.
Slasher, man, it was a great game. I did enjoy it. One of the best Super Bowls ever.
Except that BS called stealing Bolton's second TD and keeping him from the MVP. I have seen that play 3 or 4 times now because I'm rewatching the game. No one can tell me that was not a catch. The NFL needs to pull their head out of the backside and decide what in the hell a catch is. Guy catches it cleanly, takes a step and turns and gets popped. It was beautiful by Snead. Got that shoulder in there. Pop that ball. Oh my God, I was so excited.
Let me throw you a curveball. Michael Bolton. I got to quit calling him Michael Bolton. All right. Nick Bolton scores 2 touchdowns. Does he win MVP?
Yes, he should. He had 9 tackles, 8, I think, solo. He was all over that field chasing guys down. Oh, yeah, Bolton should have been the MVP. He had a monster game. He was the best defender on the field between both teams.
If he scores 2 touchdowns, here's the thing, though. I'd argue that Snead deserved more credit for that touchdown than Bolton.
Oh, well, Snead forced that fumble, and he did it clean. No crown of the helmet, no leading with his face mask, the shoulder right on the ball. It was perfect. It was textbook. Yeah.
You know, Slasher, I'd love to know. You lose both your coordinators. I've been hearing everything that Eagles fans are just itching for Gannon to go. The defensive coordinator's taking over Arizona. I'd love to know your opinion. I feel kind of bad because I think that NFC East is going to be tough to get through. Okay, Dallas is not going to stand pat. They're going to make moves, whether they're right or wrong. They're going to do something. You know this. The Giants are a team that could be very interesting.
They seem to be ascending, yeah.
You got Thibodeau, you got Ojulari, you got Leonard Williams up front. So that defensive, I mean, you got two really good edge rushers. You got a stud on that defensive line. You have some holes in the secondary. I mean, what are they going to do with Barkley? What are they going to do with Daniel Jones? But this is a team I think could be significantly better. Eric Bieniemy in Washington. We didn't even talk about this yet, Mike. What I want to know here. Throwing you a curveball, no notes, nothing. What do you think, Eric Bieniemy in Washington?
When do I ever have notes? I think it's a great move for EB. I think he did a good job here, but we don't know exactly everything he did here. And that's part of the mystery, and I think teams don't trust that. Now, I read a thing that Andy Reid got up at the owners' meeting and made an impassioned thing, explained everything Eric Berry does to all the owners, how important he is to the offense and his role in it. I don't know why he couldn't get a job. I don't know if they're leery after Nagy and his flame out. But Peterson won a Super Bowl after he left. So I don't know, but he had to do something to get out of Andy Reid's shadow. I think it's a good move. He's got a defensive-minded coach, so he's not going to interfere with the offense very much. EB's going to have a free hand completely, probably. And he's an assistant head coach as well. So that's a good title for him to have to build his resume. So I wish him the best. I loved him as a player. I loved him as a running backs coach. I don't know what he did as offensive coordinator, and I think that's where everybody was. And then he's had so many interviews. What are his interviews like?
All right, so I'm going to tell you. So I'm hearing there's two big things I'm hearing about. Number one, I heard Eric Bieniemy interviews terribly, and I've heard this over the years. Yeah. Another thing is that there was an incident at Colorado where he was involved in an altercation with a female, and he was either banned, he was banned either from the stadium or the university for one full year. And that, I mean, with everything the way it is today in the world, I think that's part of it. Yeah, I remember Matt Patricia. He got hired as the Lions head coach. They brought up a 25-year-old DUI when he was on spring break. I mean, come on, who doesn't get a DUI on spring break?
Spring break, and it's a DUI. It wasn't like touching another person. Yeah, I know that one from EB, but it was like 30 years ago, and it's just, man, and not every accusation is true too. I spent a year and a half working in state law enforcement, and I can tell you, especially in sexual assault cases, which is what I work, there's quite a few false accusations. Now, I think you should take every accusation serious and investigate. Yes, of course. Don't believe everything you hear because not everything's true, and there's a good portion that aren't. It was very interesting. I read a lot of case files. It is very, very interesting. I can tell all kinds of stories.
We need to talk about this too. I would.
Yeah, that's a private conversation, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, we can stretch this out for quite some time too.
But so your past haunts you. Look at Tyreek Hill again, and now we know none of that was even true. Yeah. God bless him, man. I say they've rolled well with Nagy as offensive coordinator before. I don't think they're going to miss a beat. Mahomes trusts him a lot. He was his quarterback's coach here. So I think it's going to be a good move for EB, and I think it's a good move for the Chiefs.
Well,
Get some fresh ideas, fresh blood.
Absolutely. So the one thing I think in Washington is that Ron Rivera is on his last legs.
Oh yeah,
he has got to make the playoffs. They got to win at least 10 games or he's out. And what you do with Eric Bieniemy is
interim coach.
There you go.
Yep, I thought of that.
Interesting because they've named, and I don't believe this is true, but Sam Howell, he was a 5th round pick. Should have gone higher. Yeah. 5th round. They've named him as the starting quarterback, and he's got a guy who's with a lot of he's got upside. I have a hard time believing Washington's not trying to add another quarterback or interested in drafting a quarterback.
Well, you think EB is going to push for that too, a veteran like a Henny. And somebody for the quarterback to send off that's been through the battles, and maybe he's in that top tier talent, but he's been through it, knows what he sees. He may not have the talent to do anything about it, but he's a good sounding board. And look how beautiful that worked out with Henny and Mahomes. They got really tight, and he was a great sounding board.
The one thing I noticed this year, and I paid a lot of attention this year, and I have no idea if Mahomes and Mike Kafka, the former quarterback coach, had this type of relationship. But every time Patrick Mahomes walked off the field, he went straight to Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
And he walked right by Andy. Now, by the way, head coaches usually don't engage with the quarterback. That's the offensive coordinator or quarterback coach's job. But he would walk right by Andy Reid. He would walk right by Eric Bieniemy. He would go straight to Matt Nagy every single time. And I have no idea if he had the same type of relationship with Mike Kafka or not, but I noticed this year he always went to Nagy, and Nagy, a former head coach. One thing Chiefs fans don't like is and I think you're included too. You're not a fan of Steve Spagnuolo, but Steve Spagnuolo was an NFL head coach for several years. He's fine on the defensive side. So
yeah, I don't like how he calls the defense, but he did, they got the job done again.
Yeah, they did get the job done. Okay, so I went on a whole thing about Kelsey. It was a 3rd round steal, and as a reason to be spend a top 20 pick on the tight end. A little bit of difference is all. Yeah. And by the way, when the Chiefs drafted, you have to realize Dorsey comes in year 1. And the first thing he does is Eric Fisher. And there was a lot of questions about Eric Fisher because Luke Jokel was the bigger name. And Fisher was definitely the better pick than Jokel. Of course, Lane Johnson, 3 offensive tackles went 1, 2, and 3. And the Chiefs, I think, made the right decision. But if you want to say they should have drafted Lane Johnson as a right tackle, I get that. It was the first time, though, if you remember, in 2012, it was Andrew Luck. 2011, it was Cam Newton. And the 2013 draft was the first time I'd have to do some research. No quarterback went in round 1. Remember, Mike, do you remember the Geno Smith number 1 overall?
Oh, my cousin Jake, I rubbed it in his face years later. Chiefs fans were so sold on Geno Smith. And all these, I'm like, man, no, absolutely not. I'm like, the heck with that. I don't like him. He may be a nice guy. I don't think he's a good fit. No. We've seen too many busts in Kansas City. But Kansas City was, oh my gosh, the fans were so.
Everybody wanted Geno Smith. Everybody wanted Geno Smith.
And what was the game? Was it Fitzpatrick? Who was Ryan Fitzpatrick playing for at the time? And Geno was his backup. And he comes into Arrowhead and throws 5 picks. And they still wouldn't take him out of the game and put Geno in. So I made a post on Facebook pointing it out to all you people that want us to draft Geno. He can't even come in after the starter throws 5 picks. They won't put him in.
I did not like Geno Smith. I'll never forget this. He was a Heisman candidate. Mm-hmm. And he played against K-State. K-State's quarterback, who's now, I think, their offensive coordinator, he was a Heisman candidate as well. And Geno Smith, K-State blew him out. Geno Smith on the sidelines threw a temper tantrum, like an 8-year-old girl throws a temper tantrum. I mean, it was embarrassing. And I saw that and I said, you cannot be a leader in the NFL. You can't behave like that. And
no.
Like, please, Kansas City, do not draft this guy.
That's like Ryan Leaf kind of stuff.
So okay, Funk. So the rant that I went on, thanks to the energy drink here, When Dorsey made that pick, I didn't like it. When they drafted this unknown guy out of Cincinnati, I had to like watch some film, and then I'm watching film, and they kept on showing this one play where he caught this long touchdown, and I'm like, okay, so he's a receiver. And then Kelsey, what he did his rookie season, he tore his ACL, didn't even play. And I heard from a buddy of mine, it's like, no, they really like this guy. This is a good pick. You're gonna like this Kelsey guy. And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, his brother did a good job in Philly as an offensive lineman. I don't know, and he's injured. He's done okay. So I didn't really like the pick at the time. But what I am saying is that if the Lions address some needs in free agency, they trade down from 6 to 10, 9, wherever, and they add some players, you're sitting there at 18. No tight ends are off the board. Why wouldn't you take one? But I did forget about James Mitchell. By the way, Keys, I'm one of these guys, but I don't think he's a left tackle. He played left tackle at Tennessee. I'm pretty sure he played left tackle at Tennessee. I might be wrong about that. He's a guy that you could plug and play on the right side, and I would be very, very, very happy. I think Kennard is a guard, not a tackle, even though they tried that experiment in preseason. But yeah. Oh, thanks, Funk. Logan Thomas. That's all I was trying to think of. Yeah, me, you, and Bufa all agree. It's one of those times where, like, hell froze over. We all agree the Chiefs are not standing pat at 31. So.
Oh yeah, no way.
For the whole year, the defense was on pace to set the record for the worst defense in the league's history after the 1-6 start. And I never said they didn't need to add the defense. I'm not saying that. I'm just I get that. I think Lions fans need to understand that if you can get a guy at 18 who can help you offensively, make the move. That's all I'm saying. So, oh, this is a good one. What is the one free agent you want to avoid? And I would avoid Clowney.
Funk's got a long memory.
I don't remember the exact time we met, but my good buddy, Chad, a guy who I absolutely love, like a brother. It turns out to be that him and Mike are really good friends. And so, like, me and Mike met, I think we just kind of clicked, like some people, meet each other and it's like, hey, you used to get along, and that's it. It was not at a Katy Perry concert, despite that. I was wearing Daisy Dukes, by the way. I was wearing Daisy Dukes. Mike's like, damn, man, you look good. Yeah, so. By the way, one pride, yeah. Yes. Dan trying. I don't know if I even want to touch this comment. I'm not going to one pride, at least not today. Absolutely, dude was a baller that game. Are you talking Logan Thomas? I'm bad. Yeah, I you know what, Funk? I actually remember you were high on Bolton. You remember you were very high on Bolton. So yeah. I do remember that. You remember when Matt Patricia went to the Patriots and everybody thought it would somehow be a good idea. Gannon would be the exact same problem. Dude rode the coattails of defense that coordinators would die for. And you know what, Slasher? You're kind of regurgitating something that everybody's saying. And I kind of want to hear from the Eagles' point of view. Is that just what it was? Is that because you did have a lot of talent there. You got Fletcher Cox, who's going to probably be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Brandon Graham, who should never pay for a meal in the city of Philadelphia. I don't know if Brandon Graham's a Hall of Famer or not. Fletcher Cox is. You got Josh Sweat on one side. Hassan Reddick. What a great story of Hassan Reddick, by the way. I love Hassan Reddick. What do you have, 17 and a half sacks for you year one? I mean, great job. You bring in Hall of Famer Ndamukong Suh. Jordan Adams, I think, will be a star. So, And don't forget, Nakobe Dean. People are talking about him being the second coming of Roquan Smith. Replace Roquan Smith in college. You guys get him in the third round. He's probably going to play next year. So yeah, I get that. I'm just surprised that you get to a Super Bowl with a guy that brings you 70 sacks, and it's not just you. It's not just half the fan base. It's every single person hates this guy. And I'm looking at Philly's defense this year, and I'm like, this isn't a bad defense. Like what's going on? But none of you guys like this guy. So all right. That's my whole point. You got an offensive coordinator who takes over. You have a defense that gets 70 sacks, and everybody hates the defensive coordinator. And it's like, what is the guy like? Is he wearing the wrong deodorant or something? I mean. But yeah, okay, yeah. Everybody across the board hates him. It's really weird that EB didn't seem to be wanted the last couple of years. 1-year deals, past couple. Peterson, Nagy didn't have to leave to show that they could earn as OCs, but then they were quarterbacks. Yeah, Keys, I agree with you. I'm going to get Mike's take on this too. I mean, it kind of seemed like the Chiefs were like, be a head coach. Don't come back.
Yeah. Well, I thought that, with the 1-year deals, like, okay, he's going to get hired. Let's not put a contract on him. And then Kafka got tired of waiting. He split. I think they were pushing him out the door. Andy likes to keep that pipeline turning and getting people promoted and help them get where they want to go. Mm-hmm. He's like the opposite of Bill Belichick, so.
It's
been a weird situation the last couple of years.
Head coach.
Yeah, it's been because they let him walk last year, and they were ready for him to be gone, and that's why they rehired. They were going to promote Kafka, and then when Kafka bolted, they rehired Nagy, and then ended up re-signing EB because nobody was hiring him. So yeah, it's been kind of weird.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about this because I remember Le'Veon Bell and Shady McCoy. They left Kansas City. They weren't happy, and there was an issue. Kelsey pushed him during the game. Mahomes and Bieniemy got into it a couple times. I really think that it was I mean, we're going to have to find out. I do think it's a great hire for Washington because Ron Rivera is like, he's got to win at least 10 games. They got to do something this year. So but I don't put anything in stock that Le'Veon Bell said or LaShawn McCoy. Those are guys at the end of their careers who were just being used as a stopgap because of injuries, in case of injuries. And they were mad because they still think they're in their prime and want a bunch of touches. No. And LaShawn got touches, and then he fumbled the ball. And once he started fumbling again, Andy's like, no way, you're not costing us games. Mm. Melvin Gordon, who I completely forgot was on the Chiefs practice squad, had the best attitude. They asked him at the parade. He said, I didn't do He goes, I got carried. And he was happy as hell. He had the right attitude. I got a ring, and I got paid and I got a ring. So, you know what? Great. He was totally happy. By the way, hey, One Pride, thanks for using grape here. Let's not use the R word because that would be a problem. I heard it was DUI. If it's a grape situation, okay. I thought it was a DUI. Keys, I can't believe like me and you are synced up perfectly here. I would have taken Kafka. That's kind of the trend the NFL wants to do is go with these unproven offensive-minded guys. You could have gone Kafka and Maruno. How did he not get a head coaching job? You hold Patrick Mahomes to 23 points in an AFC Championship game. You beat him 2 years ago in the AFC Championship game, and you get passed up. I don't get that at all, man. It's really weird. Yeah. Me and you agree today. Me and you are just in sync, man. Or maybe you're drinking energy drinks. So,
I think a lot of people were surprised. You allow 38 points in the Super Bowl, and you get the head coaching job. I don't get it either.
by the way, One Pride, you're 100% correct here. We're not going to. You're 100% correct. I don't want to talk about that. It's a touchy issue, and Mike's qualified. I'm not. So I think Gino with Andy Reid would. Oh yeah. Okay. By the way, Gino and Andy Reid would have had success, like Alex Smith and Andy Reid had success, like Donovan McNabb and Andy Reid had success. But it wouldn't have been Mahomes. It wouldn't have been like Mahomes and Reid. And then here's another thing. Geno Smith, I think, had to grow up quite a bit. Remember, he got his jaw broken by a teammate. Had to move on from a couple different places. I think Geno also they did a really good job in Seattle last year. That offensive line was really bad, and then what they do in the draft, they get 2 starting rookie tackles. So it was like the first time this happened since I think it was 80 something. Both those guys played lights out. It's really rare that you get a guy who steps in, who's not the number 1 pick in the draft. Charles Cross, I think, was 9th. And he played lights out as a rookie. That's really rare. And then you get a 3rd-round pick on the right side. He played really well as well. And I can't remember the guy's name. I know he was he played at Washington State. I know that. So, was that fit worse than Brady breaking the mic? Oh, okay. So let me ruin this for you guys. Lexi is married with kids. So I'm going to ruin that for you guys. Lexi is married with children. So, but if she was single, she obviously wouldn't go out with me. I mean, check this out. So, yeah. Why not take a tight end? I'm sure there would be an interior offensive line, a guy like Trenton Simpson, a guy like Quentin Johnson, another valuable DB that could help this team more in a tight end, personal opinion. Because I was on Luke G's show this week, and Luke G pointed out that you could sign multiple free agents cheap, and then you trade down from 6. So if the best player available is 18 and the best player available is a tight end, I'm just saying it makes sense. Now, that said, I completely forgot about James Mitchell. So that's on me. I should have known better, because he was a guy that I was really hardcore on Kansas City taking and saying, hey, Kansas City, let's look at this guy. So yeah, I'm on board with you guys now. Unpopular opinion, Daron Payne is going to grossly overpay and they will regret it. Washington now keep in mind, Ron Rivera is the head coach and general manager. They made the decision to pay Jonathan Allen instead. So that has a lot to do with it, because you got a really good defensive mind. I don't know if he's a great head coach. I don't know if he's a great general manager, but he said, hey, look, we're going to address other issues. We're not going to pay you. And I think that says something. He's going to get a lot of money. He's going to get about, I seriously, he'll get about $15 million a year. And you're right. I think that some team's going to regret it, because he's going to probably sign for big money, and he's not going to be a big time producer. Jordan Davis, I get that name wrong. And a lot of people will walk Bradbury, Cox, Kazir, my definite picks to leave. And I think we get a young quarterback at 10, hopefully Witherspoon or Gonzalez. I agree completely. By the way, Kazir White, when he left the Chargers, I was doing cartwheels. I hated playing against that guy. That guy could do everything. How you got him on a 1-year, $5 million deal, I will never know, because that guy did everything for the Chargers. And by the way, the Chargers defense was shit last year. A lot of it had to do with, they drafted players, but those guys couldn't stay healthy. Kazir White, by the way, he hasn't missed a game in like 4 or 5 years. 3-down linebacker can do everything. If you're a team and you're wanting defensive help, look at Kazir White. Chiefs got some good young linebackers, so I would question if he would come to Kansas City. But one of the key free agents that people are really overlooking, that is a great pick. Fletcher Cox, he's going to go into Canton when everything's said and done. Fletcher Cox is really good. I would love for him to come on like a 1-year deal with Kansas City and win a Super Bowl. I would love that. And Bradbury will be gone. Yeah. So Yeah, Jordan Battle would be a great fit for a lot of teams. A lot of teams too. Slasher, you're losing CG. Oh yes, that's a big loss. Yeah, Kelsey may retire. By the way, Mike, we're talking Jason Kelsey, not Travis Kelsey.
Yep. Yeah, I know. I listened to the podcast.
Actually, Mike, I'm gonna get your take on this because I've been hearing a lot about this. Have you heard about this yet?
Oh, about outlawing the scrum?
Yeah.
Sean Payton came out, of all people, and said if the competition committee doesn't do something about it, he said, I'm going to call that all the time. He said, people want to see how athletic these players are, and that's just a rugby scrum. And he said it needs to be banned from the game. So Sean Payne came out real strong about it.
There's a lot of people that are on board with outlawing this. I've been hearing a lot about it. I don't know if they'll do it. Honestly, this may be a situation where they'll let it go this year and then next year. But yeah, I'm hearing a lot about it too. The Chiefs will never use that play with Mahomes. But I could see them getting another tight end like Noah Gray and using that play too. But I'm hearing a lot about it too. Yeah, I'm with you, Keys. Evaro, by the way, where did he go? Because Sean Payton wants to bring in Rex Ryan. He hired by the way, they hired a special teams coach who's been out of football for 4 years. So for you Broncos fans that think that you guys are gonna win the West again, like I hate to tell you this, when you're bringing in coaches that haven't coached for 4 or 5 years, I good luck.
I think Sean Payne, he's trying to put his best foot forward, and he's dipping his toe in the Ryan family pool. But you know what? I don't think the defense wasn't the sole issue with that team. I can't think of any other foot analogy. Sorry, I lost a bit. I can't think of any more.
I don't know where Evaro, I'm butchering the name. I don't know where he's going, but yeah, I was too, because here's a guy that came in, and I was like, well, Vic Fangio is a fantastic defensive mind. So I told everybody, it's like, look, Denver's defense is going to take a big dip down, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And that's with Russell Wilson playing like absolute garbage. I was really impressed with him. So I agree with you, Keys. It's really weird. When's the last time we keep agreeing on everything? It's like, is there a comet that's going to hit the Earth in 3 hours or what? I mean, but no, I'm with you completely. And he went somewhere. I don't remember where.
Well, I don't like pulling an old coach that's been out of the game like that in so long. I want somebody young with fresh ideas that's more up with the modern current trends. And yeah, Ryan is not it. I just started chuckling when I saw that. I said, oh, please, God, let this happen. We're going to rule the AFC West for so much longer.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you right now, I don't think Sean Payton's going to work in Denver, but he just hired a special teams coach who hasn't coached in 4 or 5 years. They want to bring Rex Ryan out of retirement. I'm just chuckling over here. Like, good luck. Have fun.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you really look at Sean Payne's career, he had a Hall of Fame quarterback, and they made 1 Super Bowl. They never went deep in the playoffs, but
comparing Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, you could not get 2 more different types of quarterbacks. Right. I know they're both short, but that's it. That's the only thing these guys got in common. They're different types of players.
Yeah, so he didn't go. He could even get it done with Brees hardly. So
no, I mean, they won.
They think he's going
to be the most talent for like a 4 or 5 year stretch. They had this insane amount of talent. You had this great defense. You got Brees. You had Michael Thomas. You had Alvin Kamara. You had this great offensive line. And I mean, you got screwed against the Rams in the NFC conference title game, but you laid an egg against. I remember you lost to Minnesota. You're like a 10-point favorite. You lost to Minnesota. Okay, no, let me back up. You lost in the Minneapolis Miracle, complete fluke. You play them next year in the playoffs, and you're a 10-point favorite. You lose again. Then you lose to the Rams, and then after the Rams, I forget what it was that they did, but like, yeah, there was some weird, like they get to the playoffs and just lay an egg.
Yeah,
It was really
yeah,
weird.
with the Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson and Drew Brees are not the same thing.
Right. Yeah. So I'm really happy with all the decisions going on out there.
You're giving up a first round pick. At Denver, you need that. You're not set. You're not there. This is interesting. So you think that? By the way, Gardner. I'm going to butcher name. Gardner Johnson. CGJ. Perfect. That he deserves that. So you got him staying in Philly. That's really interesting. That's another thing. I think Edwards leaves. He's a free agent too, and he deserves a lot of money. The Eagles got him like on a 1 year, $2 million deal, $3 million deal, something cheap, and he played lights out. So I remember Hackett was hired. I was skeptical on all these coaches and his staff, including him coaching at the higher position the first time in the NFL. Yeah, I was too, because I remember I went out to Colorado for the first time Denver. I hung out in Denver a couple times, and Denver fans were all thinking Super Bowl. They were all on board. It's like, yeah, we're going to win a Super Bowl. I'm like, Hackett's the first-time head coach. Evara's the first-time defensive coordinator. I forget who the offensive coordinator was. All these guys are first-time guys. I'm like, Andy Reid's been coaching for a while. I don't know how all these first-time coaches are going to – yeah, but I'm with you, Keys. I was wrong on Evara. He went somewhere, and I'm just drawing a blank on where he went, so – I think he is, man. I think he is. I think teams are really going to love this guy, and I think he could be overpaid. If you can get him to stay in Philly for 10 to 15 million a year, yeah. So, no, he's not Fred Warner, but he's cheap and yeah. Come on, she may want to go younger if she was single. You know what? She's not, but she's got a younger sister that'd be perfect for you on Pride. So, just saying. I expect free agency to go crazy, but not just usual bad teams overpaying. I expect borderline contenders to overpay to catch up to KC, Philly, Buff. Oh, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you, Keys. Free agency is going to be nuts this year, and you got some big time names too. You got Derek Carr. You got Jimmy G. We talked about CGJ. Let's just go there. You got a lot of big time free agents, and where does Rodgers go? There's talk about Rodgers being traded. I expect him to end up in New York. I think he's going to be a Jet.
One was dead, so I was charging one. I'm switched it.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, my headphones were kicking out.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you this here. This is kind of interesting because we're talking about free agency. Where does Aaron Rodgers play next year? No script, just throwing you stuff there.
Dude, that is the most weird soap opera the last few years. And again, why didn't you guys surround this guy with the pieces he needed? I mean, you got a generational talent there. I don't know. I don't know if he goes anywhere. He's doing his whole blackout right now. Trying to find where he wants to, what he wants to do. God bless. I got no idea. I mean, everybody keeps saying, the big rumor now is the Jets. Yeah. And I'm like, it's the Jets, man. You want to finish with the Jets, that organization. Now, if Breece Hall is healthy, that guy can run. I mean, that is a great pick. And they were good with him. Without him, they're the Jets. So, I don't know, dude. That is the weirdest one. I could see him ending up in Las Vegas.
I've heard that a lot too. I mean,
they got to make a splash to cover up for McDaniels. I mean, McDaniels ain't going to do squat.
I thought he would do a decent job with Carr. I really did, and it did not work out
because McDaniels deflects. He's a New England coach. It's not me. We're perfect. and there's this crappy QB, you know. Meanwhile, you know, Andy Reid wanted Carr, so that tells you what the people think of Carr, really. This guy's got talent. He's just been in a bad situation. I don't know. Maybe Rodgers goes there. Or maybe he goes to, gosh, I don't know. I don't know who would want him. I don't know who would be set up to handle somebody like
I think the Jets would be like the perfect spot.
It kind of seems that way.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. You Zach Wilson, just you cut ties with Wilson. You trade him for, you know, whatever you can get. It makes sense here. Don't forget that. By the way, Nakobe Dean. If I'm like, watch him at Georgia. Like, it's very impressive. Yeah, Kazir White's awesome, and Edwards is a guy. White and Edwards are free agents. I think you keep one, and then you plug in Nakobe Dean also. So when Kazir White left the Chargers and they didn't pay him, I was so happy. I thought that was just, and how he went to Philly on a 1-year $5 million contract, I have no idea. Evero, oh, that's right. He went to Carolina. They're lining up. Carolina's, I think, lining up to do some really good things. So we have hey, look, I hope so, man. I hope so. I'm cheering for you guys to do good. Payne will get grossly overpaid, but it will be like how Trey Flowers was for the Lions. Also heard he doesn't want to win. That's kind of interesting. So a lot of people are predicting CGJ to go to Detroit. Really? Huh. That's going to be a big name in free agency. So yeah. Believe it or not, Lions fans have lost attraction to free agency. Well, yeah, you've had some busts. Yeah, you had some busts, and it's an old school thing. But I mean, you know, if you build through the draft, you're tuned for more sustainable success. If you build through free agency, you're gonna have what you have with the Rams. If you do win, because you'll win, and then boom, it's gone. So
yeah.
I'm probably crazy, but I'm higher. I think I'm higher on Denver. Lots of injuries last year. Hackett was set up to fail with Russ. As I said after the trade, Russ looks like his old self against us, and then LAC. I'm not sold on Denver at all. I'm kind of curious what the Raiders do, because like if Rodgers ends up with the Raiders, then I have no idea. I'm not that high on Denver, because you lose that first round pick. That's a big pick. I mean, yeah, I don't care if it is 29 or not. I think it's a big deal, and I also think that Denver has some holes. When players get injured, everybody assumes that, oh, they'll come back and they'll be healthy for the next 10 years. Well, maybe not. I mean, once you get injured once, sometimes, you know, it's just kind of a red flag. We're going to find out. I want to see what they do with the defensive coordinator, because I don't see Rex Ryan being successful right away. if I mean, that just, yeah. So, yeah. Dan, what's good? Man, living the dream, man. Me and Buffa. I got Buffa here. Keys is back on. I haven't heard from Keys in a while. I'm giddy about Keys. Buffa, he's here. You know, Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I'm still wearing my Chiefs shirt. I promise you, it's been washed since the Super Bowl. Yeah, man. Yeah, life's very good, man. How are you doing, man? You know, Brady's going to go into the broadcast booth. Who takes over as quarterback in Tampa Bay? I'd love to know what you say. Tell me who's going to be a starting quarterback in Tampa.
Yeah, fill us in. What you're hearing down there.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a younger sister. You know, we follow each other on social media, and she, I want to say Twitter wished her sister happy birthday. I think her sister's 25. So, yeah, one pride, and I think she likes Lions fans. So make your move, man. Take your shot, man. Take your shot. Jaguars will be a team to beat. Yeah, Jacksonville's a team that I'm looking at, and you get Ridley. Now hold on now. Before you say this, Ridley can apply for reinstatement. It doesn't mean it's been approved. it probably will be approved. It probably will be approved, but it's not a guarantee. But you get Ridley coming back. Lawrence is my pick for MVP right now. He's my 2023 MVP. I think he's going to have a great season, and I think Jacksonville's going to be a very scary team. But Ridley, I want to wait till the official word comes back before I sit here and pigeonhole him. But great trade last year if he does come back. So, I forgot about Hargrove. Is he a free agent or is he still under contract? So. What's up with Bieniemy taking a job as Washington OC? Is it like taking a step back? No. Okay. So in Washington, he's going to be the assistant head coach. Here's what I think the deal is. Washington is not happy with Riviera, and Riviera is not only the head coach, but he's the general manager. He's made some questionable moves, especially at the quarterback position. So when you bring in a guy like Bieniemy, what you're saying is, hey, do something good. Do it fast because we got your replacement right here.
Exactly.
Yeah. I certainly expect them to win that division slasher. Yeah, that AFC South. I mean, Tennessee looks like they're falling down. They're losing free agents. They're built around Derrick Henry, who's a power running back who keeps getting older. So yeah. Houston's completely in rebuild mode. Probably not going to be good this year. So yeah, Jacksonville. Yeah. Watch out for the Jags, folks. Like they're doing some really good things. Yeah, you're right. One Pride. They got signed a lot of players. They got to figure out the contract for Hurts. I don't think you have to pay him this year, but next year, what's he gonna ask for? I mean, I know I'm saying these numbers and it sounds crazy, but he could be asking for 60, 70 million a year. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think I wasn't even thinking that much. I was thinking more 50, 55. Man, wow.
I mean, you're gonna have to back up the Brinks truck, man.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, Mike. I'm going to throw you under the bus here, man. Keys has a great question. Way too early hot seat watch for 2023. Do you got somebody?
Oh, coaching hot seats. Let's see. I'm going to throw. That's a good one. No, he's new. Fraser in Tampa Bay. They underachieved. Now Brady's gone. He's definitely going to be on a hot seat. I'm not sold on Saleh in New York. I could see him being on a short leash. And okay, this is my most out there one. Bill Belichick.
Oh man! Oh wow! Oh man! Bill Belichick on the hot seat. Oh man! What a you wanted a hot take, Keys. You wanted a hot take. You got one. Buffa says Belichick on the hot seat.
It's getting warm, and Kraft has made some comments that lead me to believe that in the press. Well, we're disappointed how things have been going. And, there's little hints that Kraft, he's getting older. He wants to win another one. And if he's not sold Belichick can turn this around, Belichick's going to be out there.
What a great take, Mike. Because
I
didn't have enough balls
I have a few.
to say it. I'm Ron Riviera is number one.
Riviera.
Yeah. Author blank. No. I'm sorry. Wrong name. Right.
Wrong franchise.
Author Smith, not Author Blank. Author Blank's the owner of the Falcons. He could fire his head coach, Author Smith. Dean Pease left, so they poached the defensive coordinator from the Saints, which I think was a great hire. He's had 2 double-digit losing seasons. It's hard to believe that they'd go with 3. Desmond Ridder is going to be the starting quarterback, so that's one. Mike, help me out. Who's the coach there in LA? The Chargers. What's his name?
Mike McDaniel.
No, not it's not McDaniel.
What is his name? Yeah, I'll think about it in a second.
Yeah, okay. So the Chargers head coach is a guy that they got to make the playoffs. They got to make the playoffs. If the Chargers, I don't care who gets injured.
Brandon Staley.
So Ron Rivera to me is number one. You don't bring in a guy like Eric Bieniemy. You're not the head coach and general manager. So I think that's number one, Riviera. Staley's got to make the playoffs. Arthur Smith in Atlanta. I'll give you another name that I can't believe I'm saying, but Mike or Matt, I always forget, but LaFleur, the coach for Green Bay. I mean, 13 to what they went 9 or 8. And now if you lose, listen, let's say Aaron Rodgers leaves. Let's say he ends up in Vegas or New York, wherever. If they still win 8 or 9 games, who are you going to blame for Rodgers leaving? Especially if Rodgers has success, you're going to blame that head coach. So
totally.
So yeah, and by the way, Keys, you're right. That I think Reich was a great hire. And then you get Evaro, he's going to do a good job. Yeah, that coaching staff is fantastic. And I'm chuckling at this too. I love it, man. And by the way, Lions fans, I've been critical of you guys. I want you guys to keep drinking the Kool-Aid. I want to hear the comments of you guys winning the North. I want to hear it. I love it, by the way. I want you guys to be proud, and I want you guys to be excited. I'm doing like a yin yang thing where I'm like, hey, look, don't forget about this, but I want you guys to be excited. And after that 1-6 start, you should be excited too. I mean, I'm kind of like, anyway, you're doing one thing, I'm doing the opposite, but I want you guys to be enthusiastic, and you deserve to be enthusiastic too.
It'd be nice to see them Detroit do well since they wasted the Barry Sanders year.
Yeah, we don't want them to do well against the Chiefs. I mean, even Lions fans want the Chiefs to win when we play them. Me and Luke G will do something for the Chiefs-Lions game. The only people worth re-signing that are hitting free agency are Hargrave and CJ. Hurts is still under contract, so he technically doesn't have to be extended. And that's another. Oh, dude, yeah. You pick. By the way, Slasher, if you looked at any of these mock drafts that I've released, the 3-round mock drafts, because I think what the USA Today one is very interesting. What the Eagles do. I'm drawing a blank on what the NFL Network said, but I'd love to hear what you think. But you pick 10 and you pick 30. Use those picks. I would also agree with this. I would have Hurts play this year and then try to sign him next year. But remember, if he improves off this year, then he's going to ask for a buttload of money. Lexi's sister.
How did you know,
Oh God. I don't. Okay, so just for the record, I had no idea she had a sister till like after the show was over on social media. She posted a picture of her and her sister, and she said, "Happy birthday to my sister." So, follow her on social media, find and take a look for yourself. But she's pretty good looking. Her sister is so. But here's this. You're not going to believe this, but I brought her on just to talk football, believe it or not. But Lexi's married with kids, so unfortunately. All the young quarterbacks looking to extend off their rookie deals should be interested. If I was a GM, I tried to be the first to get you're 100% correct on this, Keith, because that's what the Chiefs did. The Chiefs reset the market. I'm thinking the agents are pushing their quarterbacks to be last. You're right. Keys, you're nailing this today. You're 1,000% correct. What you want to do is you want to be the one who resets the market. You want to be Kansas City who resets the market with Mahomes, because then you put the Bills behind the 8 ball. You put the Cardinals behind the 8 ball. You put who resigns first? The Chargers, you watch, the Chargers are going to mishandle this Herbert situation. They're going to mess this up, and it's going to be funny. They're either going to have to pay him like $75 million a year, or Herbert's going to hold out. Or I would love to see Herbert get traded somewhere. I would love to see it. I would laugh so hard. And by the way, if you don't think it would work out, remember the Chargers got rid of Drew Brees. So.
Yeah, and Hurts is going into his fourth season, so you need to do him after this one. You got so many young ones, and the Chiefs were brilliant to do that really long contract and spread it out with not much guaranteed money, so they can convert it to signing bonus and be flexible. The 2027 it will kind of hurt; they'll have to renegotiate then. But yeah, it put a lot of pressure on everybody else. It's going to be fun. This is going to be another crazy, fun off season.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great season, and you're right. Philly has to extend Hurts. You got to extend him, but because he's a second round pick, you don't have to do the 5th year option, but you got to re-sign him in year 4. Now I'm trying to remember here. I don't remember off the top of my head if it's. I think this year is year 4, but the thing is that you could re-sign him this year. I think you re-sign him next year, and the reason why is because you have some holes in free agency. Try to build the team back and try to make another run. And then I would try to – and by the way, try to work on something during the season. That contract that the Chiefs signed with Mahomes, it wasn't just, hey, let's sit down for an hour. No, they worked on that for quite some time. And if the Eagles front office and Howie Roseman it's Roseman, is that right? GM?
Yeah.
Real smart guy. They're working on getting something. But yeah, Philly does have to extend them. The question is when, and I think it's after this year, to be honest, which is kind of risky. But I think it is after this year. But the team that signs the quarterbacks first are going to be the ones that win. Does Hurts get signed before Herbert? Do the Chargers finally do something smart and get a deal done with Herbert during the season?
We know the answer to that.
Yeah. They're going to mess that up. I promise you they're going to mess it up. It's going to get nasty.
It's going to be the way only the Chargers do things. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And seriously, it may be a situation where they fire Staley and the coach doesn't like Herbert. I want to groom my own. Yeah.
Right, that's even better.
Bradbury can walk. Bradbury's going to want a lot of money, and forget the holding penalty. He's a really good corner. They don't come cheap.
Cox he had a good game.
Walk. He's going to go into Canton someday. His best days are long behind him. Edwards is cheap, but Edwards is going to want to get paid. Epps will walk. Yeah, Epps will walk. Graham is 34. This is probably his last year. Joseph is old. Sue's old. Quinn's old. White has a potential candidate over Edwards. Don't forget Kelsey may retire too. Now, you got Kelsey's replacement already lined up. You drafted him last year, Cam Jurgens out of Nebraska.
They've been preparing for that one.
Yeah, and Philly's done a great job filling these holes, but they got some work to do. Philly's going to be a fun team this offseason, and they've already shown they can be aggressive. So Philly's a team I could see trading down from 10 and getting some draft capital. So it's going to be interesting. If the Washington O doesn't look great under Eric Bieniemy and the KC's offense takes another step forward under Nagy, assuming he's the guy, does it further hurt EB's chances to get another head coaching job? I think it does. Absolutely, it does. Now, if they do roll, and I should know this kid's name, if they do roll the second-year player to 5th-round pick out of North Carolina, I know all these numbers about him, but I can't think of the guy's name. If he shows flashes, but the offense doesn't look good, then no. But if he looks lost out there, like he's throwing to like wide open spaces, or he doesn't understand the offense, or it looks like he's just confused out there, because the Chiefs run a very complex offense, right? And if this guy just doesn't understand the offense, if he just looks confused out there, remember that clip of Sam Darnold going off the sideline going, I'm seeing ghosts out there. If that kid comes off the field and he's got like that deer in the headlights look, he's like this, Yes. If he looks like he's making some good reads and it's a talent issue or an injury issue, then maybe not. But yeah, you're right. I see that. Mike, man, what do you think, brother?
Yeah. I mean, EB's got to remember if you're bringing in a whole new system, you got a young guy, you may have to simplify things at first. Get everybody on the same page and then start making it more complex. It's going to be really interesting to see him stand on his own. This is his make or break for sure. Are they going with Heineke?
No, they're going with the second-year player.
Oh, Howell?
That's it, Sam Howell. And by the way, I love this kid out of North Carolina. Absolutely love them. But, I mean, if you're bringing it by the Chiefs' offense is exceptionally complex. Can you pick it up in one offseason? Is he going to run a dumbed-down version of it, too? That's another big question.
Right, because the knock on Andy is always that it takes 3 years for a wide receiver just to pick up the offense. And I think we're seeing some of that with Sky Moore. He's had a little trouble adjusting because he came from a small school. So now it's really complex compared to what he was running. It's just taking him more time. Yeah.
So what do Vrabel, Tomlin, and Belichick have to do to get fired at any season in the future? Mike just nailed this here. I actually wrote down the timestamp because I'm gonna use this as a short. This is awesome.
Thank you.
With Vrabel, what did Tennessee start out at 7-3? And then he had a 6 or 7 game losing streak to miss the playoffs. Vrabel's hot seat may get pretty hot. Tomlin's safe. Pittsburgh. Tomlin would probably have to beat up a female reporter or something. Pittsburgh has an organization. Tomlin's insulated. He's fine. He's not going anywhere. Vrabel's hot seat may start to heat up, especially if they start off 0-3, 0-4. The Belichick thing, I didn't have enough balls to say it, but yeah, I mean, if Belichick wins 6 or 7 games, hey, the dude's going to be almost 70. He's not going to coach forever. Mike, I want you to answer this one here, and then I'm going to give you my opinion. And we already got opinions in the comments here, which I'm behind on. But Mike, if Belichick gets fired or resigns, does he retire or does he go somewhere else?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think he would retire. I think he just hang it up. He knows, unless I got these pieces, I had a good run. If he's smart about it, I'm never going to find this again. I'm too old to do this again. Go to the broadcast booth, get paid to do hardly nothing. That's what I would do if I was him. Back to Tomlin, though. Yeah, the Rooneys hate firing coaches. Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game in over 10 years now.
He hasn't won a playoff game, but he's never had a losing season too.
He's never had a losing season, but it's like Barney Schottenheimer. It's just you're just dog paddling in Pittsburgh. It seems like it's amazing to me that he still has a job. But no, I think Belichick just retires at this point in his career. Andy would have to live 80 to catch him in wins. So I think he feels secure in his legacy. But you never know. He could throw us a curveball.
Sean McDermott on the hot seat. Man, I Buffalo would have to really regress. They would have to completely fall apart. I think they like McDermott quite a bit in Buffalo. But that's a good one. That's a good one.
If we had a couple more bad playoff collapses or something, then I would start thinking that way. But I think he's at least a year or two away before any mention of that. Hey, one pride.
Yeah,
Talk to you later. I'll tell you stories about that.
All right, yeah, Bowles is on the hot seat. Yeah. Bowles has to win.
Oh, Bowles, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew about Caldwell. I didn't know about Capers. These are really good hires here.
Oh, Capers,
Vander-
yeah, he's a good defensive mind.
uh,
Wait, go back. I
coaches.
didn't see that one.
Which one? This one?
They said that like this. I'm liking Keys.
Oh, dude, Keys is awesome, man. Keys is awesome.
It's funny you mentioned her. Oh my gosh, that came up earlier today.
Hot seat coaches: Staley, Riviera, Bowles, McCarthy, McDaniels, McDermott, Bill Belichick. I don't think it's McDermott unless, and I mean, like Buffalo would have to start off like 1-5 or something, and they would not fire him mid-season, but then after the season, but I could see that. I just don't think McDermott's on that list.
Yeah, that's the only one I would disagree with on that list. Not yet.
So let me do this here. You know what? I'm going to give you the team. I'm going to give you the team. Atlanta. He goes to Atlanta, and here's why. Arthur Blank would say, I'm going to give you $25 million a year, and you do whatever you want. And Arthur Blank has the money. I think that they're going to move on from Arthur Smith. They have the franchise. I think Arthur Blank, and it would have to be a situation like Arthur Blank, where he would just say, come on in, you can be the head coach, you can be the general manager, I'm going to give you whatever you want. But in that type of situation, Belichick would take over. But I think the only team that would do that would be Atlanta. And Arthur Blank has the capital to do so. He could write a check for $25 million and not even think twice about it.
That's the truth.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, he's the guy who also he made a lot of his money. He was the founder of Home Depot, and then he just bought the Atlanta Falcons for fun. So, you know what? That's actually not a bad fit. But normally, what teams do is that if you hire a defensive guy, you usually want to go back to an offense. I could see them saying, okay, if McDermott doesn't work, let's bring in somebody who can turn Josh Allen into the best possible version they could be. But Amaruno, how did he not get a head coaching job? I don't get that. Whoever made the Burger King commercial, your mom's a hoe. I am not familiar with that.
Neither am I.
Funny you say Tom wouldn't have to beat up a female reporter when Brooke Pryor, former KC Star reporter, is now beat her. I did not know.
Oh, she is. Well, get ready because she doesn't believe in the truth, man.
Yeah. Bill Belichick is 70. I think Belichick's too prideful and someone to have to throw him some money. Yeah, and I think it's only somebody like Arthur Blank who not only would Arthur Blank pay him an insane amount of money, Arthur Blank would say, I'm not going to interfere with you. He's not he's not like Jerry Jones who has to be in there. Arthur Blank's the owner who would just say, I'm going to give you whatever you want, and then I'm going to take a step back. I could see Vegas trying to do that, but they don't have the money. I'm trying to think of another team. I want to say maybe Miami, but I don't see that. I don't see him going back to New York either. But yeah, Robert Saleh's on the hot seat. Especially if Aaron Rodgers arrives and they don't get it done. But yeah, Robert Saleh's in the hot seat.
Oh yeah, if you had Aaron Rodgers, a healthy Breece Hall, and you still can't get it, make a splash in the playoffs, yeah.
We're going to wrap up here. I've kept Mike around for way too long, and so we're going to wrap up here. But any final thoughts, final questions, we'll go ahead and answer. By the way, Keys, man, absolute solid gold. Keys, hit me up because I want to know. Gooch said he was on board for some draft content and to do a mock draft. Please, you come on board too. And we're going to try to do – so the long-term plan is I want to have after free agency hits, I want to have like a live stream where we do a mock draft. the day before the draft, I want to have a live stream and do a live mock draft. And me and Bufa are going to be on live for the draft. And by the way, Keys, if you want to come on, open invite, man. Open invite. More the merrier. I'm going to try to get Lexi on. I'm going to ask Luke G. I don't know if I think Luke G's doing his own thing for the draft. Gooch said he would do it. So Keys, please come on board. I'd love to get your intake on the draft.
Yeah, we're going to need some guests, and we'll talk about it more. I got some ideas, some stuff we're going to do. We haven't hashed everything out yet. If it was a little different situation, we would do a live location shoot. But I think we're just going to do it in-house and use Streamyard. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be there the whole time. I'm working on my Mel Kiper impression.
I love Mel Kiper. I love Mel Kiper. One Pride 40. I'm going to reach out to Luke G as well, but I would love to get Lions input, especially at 6 and 18.
Yeah. Definitely.
One Pride, are we connected on social media? If so, I know Funk is on Twitter. I've DM'd him a few times. If I haven't, all my social media links are below. Hit me up on social media, DM me. Let's get together. Let's make it happen. Plus, I want to know how your martial arts journey's going. It's conversation kind of off the air, but I want to know. One more Belichick question. Belichick got fired and didn't retire. Which current head coach of a playoff team would get fired, or if you're the owner, would you fire to hire Belichick? I don't think he'd work in Dallas. You said playoff team because I want to say Green Bay, but I don't see that playoff team.
Oh, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Of a playoff team.
I want to say the New York Giants because he has ties there. But Dable did win Coach of the Year, and I just have a hard time believing that.
Yeah, it'd be a bad look to hire a guy who's up and coming.
I want to say Jacksonville because the owner has rich pockets and would do something like that. However, I think he really likes Doug Peterson. I mean, I think him and Doug Peterson have a really, really good relationship. I want to tell you Jacksonville. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no there. I'm going to say no to the Giants. God, that's a real good one, man. That is a good one.
I'd say Miami, if anybody.
Well, okay, so that's right. Miami did make the playoffs. They did make the playoffs.
They did make the playoffs. Once Tua got injured, they kind of tanked a little. Defenses figured Tyreek out and slowed him down quite a bit.
Belichick would have fun with Tyreek Hill and Waddle.
Yeah,
he would have fun.
Being 70, it's nice and warm. It's easier on your body.
Did you know that him and Jimmy Johnson are really close?
No, I did not.
Yeah, him and Jimmy Johnson. You know what, Mike? I'm on board now. I was thinking maybe Minnesota.
Nah, he's going to go somewhere warm. If it was that good.
Yeah, I think I'm on board. I will tell you this: if Belichick, let's just say, at the end of this year, he gets fired. I could 100% see the Dolphins kicking McDaniel out and bringing Belichick and saying, "You're general manager, your head coach, everything." And I think the first thing he would do is get rid of Tua.
Oh yeah, and Tua. I'm sorry, I don't know who's advising Tua. Brother, retire, man. It's not worth it. Yeah.
By the way, Tua, friendly, personable. I think would be awesome on TV. I like he's a guy I think people would really gravitate towards. I think he'd be awesome on TV. I understand you want to play. Don't risk it, man. I'd love. Look, if you do want to play, great. And Saban and Belichick have a great relationship. I mean, for him to take an Alabama quarterback makes a lot of sense. But if I'm Belichick, and by the way, this would be in 2024, unless Tua played for 17 games and had no health issues at all, which is not going to happen.
No.
Belichick would take over Miami. First thing he would do is get rid of Tua, but Belichick would love to work with Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
Oh
So
yeah, there's great pieces there, and it's
Keys is nailing it too. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So I think that would be the most logical one. Plus, McDaniels hasn't been there very long, so it's not like you're overthrowing a real entrenched person that will kind of upset the fans. Yeah, it just seems to be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I'm with you, Keys. I'm listen, he's made some good money. He's super personable, very likable. I think he'd do a fantastic job on TV. I don't know. I mean, I'm not in. I've never talked to the guy, but I'd have to think like if let's say he couldn't play football. I think him in television just makes a lot of sense. Maybe he's one of these guys that wants to go into coaching.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I think he'd be a guy that'd be great for television. Yeah, Arthur Smith, Robert Saleh, both these guys. I disagree with this. I actually think this is a great move for the Jets. I think it's a great move for the Jets, and part of that is because it entices Aaron Rodgers to come there. But
hold on, time out. I don't mean to interrupt. How did that work in Denver? They thought that was going to be the enticement too.
Yeah, and that failed. And here's the thing with Denver. I think the ownership just dropped the ball there. They're like, hey, let's bring in Hackett. Because that ownership job right now is just firing blanks. And I'm going to tell you something. Pat Nolan should have been in the Hall of Fame 25, 30 years ago that he had to wait so long. One of the greatest owners, one of the greatest contributors to the NFL. And he wasn't recognized for the longest time. He was kept out of the Hall forever. And he leaves, and what happens? The Broncos organization goes straight to shit. You should have seen it happen. You should have seen it happen. I understand the Walton Penner Group's worth $70 billion, according to the Denver Gator. What they're doing is jokeable. It's just funny. So, and by the way, Hackett as a head coach and Hackett as an offensive coordinator, night and day situation. You're bringing in a guy to help the offense. That's where your problem is. And these two have worked together before. These two know each other. I think Hackett to the Jets makes a lot of sense with or without Rodgers.
Good point.
Where is this Big Bertha thing coming from? Where is the Big Bertha thing coming from?
I sent Pride some pictures of your exes.
Okay. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? So Morgan was not heavy. I'm just letting you know right now. So, but yeah, One Pride hit me up. Yeah, we could have. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'd love to have you on. I'm going to have Luke G on before the draft. I think he's doing something special on his own for the draft, but if I can, I'm going to get Luke G on. I would love to have you on as well. So DM me, and we're going to work out some details. Booth is in. I'm in. Hopefully I can get Gooch said he'd be in. I want Keys to come on. Keys open invite. Gooch said he's coming in. I'm going to have Lexi on in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if I can get her on for the draft. We'll find out. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. He just passed protocol like someone around the AFCG, didn't he? Yeah. So what happened is exactly. he was like on concussion protocol for like a month. I don't know, but I mean, okay. I'm not a medical expert, but most of these concussion protocol things last a couple days, not a month. So, yeah.
Well, it was more than that because he was. Keith is right. It was well after the season before he cleared, and he hadn't been hit for quite a while. Yeah, you don't. It's cumulative too. Every time you take one, yeah, it's just that guy. Oh, God bless, man. That guy needs to retire.
Yeah, and I have no idea. Maybe coaching. I just said I think he's a natural for TV. That's just from what I've seen. The guy's just personable. He's likable. He's a guy I think that would just go straight to TV and excel. Maybe he wants to go coaching. Yeah, I did the live stream of the Chiefs Broncos game, and that concussion was terrible. That concussion was really bad. You could see it right away. I used to be a big boxing fan, and he looked like a boxer who just got knocked out. That concussion was really terrible. I was doing the live stream and I said it right away, like he's out. Like it was really bad.
Yeah.
It was.
I remember that game.
And he was cleared like I think 3 to 4 days later. I'd have to look at that, but it didn't take him. I can tell you this: it wasn't 2 weeks, and Tua it was like 5 weeks. So yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was really bad. It was really, really bad. He had a knot on his head the size of an egg. If you've ever watched boxing, like they showed a close up right on his face. He was out. And then on the sidelines, he was like trying to talk to people, and they were like, "Oh, let's just get you away here. Let's get you. Quit talking to people. Nobody's paying attention," because he had this giant knot on his head, and he's like trying to have conversations. You know, like super drunk friend who wants to talk to this group. That's what they were doing. They're like, "Nah, let's get you over here." But yeah, it was really bad. Come on, yeah, I know. I'm fully aware. Rupa joins in as well, so yes. You know, seriously, I remember. I want to quote you 1982. I may be wrong about the year, but Ken Anderson's career was ended. They took a helicopter. They flew it on the field. So this is funny. So like, I DVR'd the games. So I DVR'd and I saw the injury. So I paused it. And I'm on my phone because it's like I'm just gonna wait till it restarts. So I'm on my phone, and then I get a call from Bufa. He goes, "They called the game," and I said, "What are you talking about?" Bufa's Bufa's like, "They called the game. Game's over." I'm like, "No, I'm just fast forwarding it, and like I'm gonna wait till about half an hour, 45 minutes, and I'm gonna watch the rest of the game." Mike's like, "No, dipshit, the game's over. They called it. It's over." And I'm like, no, they can't do that. This is the NFL. You don't call NFL games, Mike. Come on, dummy. No, actually, I'm joking. We don't talk that way to each other. But I was like, no, he's wrong. And I just kept fast forwarding. Then I started watching coverage about everything that happened because when I paused it, I didn't know about the severity of it. The Ken Anderson injury. Like they flew a helicopter on the field. Like that freaked me out. The Joe Theismann injury, where Lawrence Taylor just, was jumping up and down and everything. I hate to say this, but we're going to see an injury like this again. If you keep watching football, something like this will happen again. It's a violent game. It happens. It's sad, but this. I mean, I remember it was a Jeff Lagman against the Chiefs, paralyzed on the field. He gave the thumbs up, never walked. I think he did walk again, like years later. No, unfortunately, I don't. I hope you're right. I don't think you are. Speaking of Zach Taylor, he has a locker room full of killers in the playoffs. Read the room, man. Yeah, I completely forgot about that, man. I think it might have been after the Bills divisional game. I'd be surprised if you don't tweak shoulder pads moving forward, try to absorb and redirect the force. So they have over the last several years. I'm significantly older than you are. When I played football, they gave you those all plastic. It's now kind of a composite foam, rubber, plastic shoulder pads. It's a lot lighter. What they may do is they may have you switch back to heavier padding. This offseason, for off-season drills, remember those big, giant mushroom type things you've seen? Do you know what I'm talking about, Mike? Did you?
Yeah, those new guards they have to wear, and they said it was only for linemen and players that are hitting real close, the headbutting. But now for the new training camp, everybody's going to wear them. I think, all practices, and That's a great idea. I mean, just keep everybody healthier. I always wonder because the pads they're so small now.
Yeah.
You look back at old highlights, they're huge.
Yeah, remember those giant plastic? Yeah, they've changed the composition of the pads, but it wouldn't surprise me if these companies keep trying to do this. I 100% agree with you. And you may see it go old school and go bigger again, instead of smaller. Because, if you watch the shoulder pads, I remember I had like giant shoulder pads out to here, and they've eliminated that. They may change that. Oh, man, Gooch, we're about ready to wrap up. Gooch, you said you're coming on for the draft. Get Keys on board. Get Aaron on board. Let's get 3 out of 3. I got Bufa on. So, yeah. It was such a freak injury that concentrated energy in that one spot. That's why it's typically only seen in youth baseball and car crashes. Yeah. And by the way, it has been, I've heard about it in youth baseball games. So, but we got where they're coming from. We're coming for your kneecaps. By the way, I would love to get the Backtalk brothers and the Kingdom Queens together because I think you would have a great dynamic. 3 guys, 3 girls. I think that sounded all kinds of wrong. That did not come out right. That did not come out right. But I think
sounds like Dan's other career.
Yeah, something like that. I like I say on the live stream, anything goes. So, I want to get you guys together. I think that the dynamic between your shows would really work good. I think it'd be just a home run. And Lexi did say she would come on again. We're not. I've been. So here's a drill. I messaged the Kingdom Queens for weeks, and I heard nothing. Lexi hit me back. She's like, Dan, we just now we're seeing these. We'd love to come on. Then all 3 of them were going to come on the week that I had Luke G. And I said, well, I already got Luke G scheduled. Can you come on next week? And Lexi's like, I'm the only one that can make it. Is that okay? And I was like, No, I was very excited. I was very excited about it. Just I wanted to get more guests in. When me and Mike do a show, it usually works a lot better than just me. So, and she did a fantastic job, and Luke G did a fantastic job, and Mike has done a fantastic job. So,
oh, thank you.
Yeah, man. Hey, Gooch. Yeah, me and Mike are in for the draft. By the way, I want you guys on for the draft, April 27th. I want you guys live, and then I want to have a mock draft before. But yeah, I want you to come in. I want you to come in if you're willing. You don't have to stay for all 5 hours like Mike. Mike's drinking a $500 bottle of scotch the whole time. So, yeah. That's Dan's fan. I hate the NFL. Welcome, brother. You know, I forgot the Chiefs had Justin Ross and Mahomes. It was going crazy. Yeah, we got him. Yeah. Jesus. It just went off the tracks here. It's not just off the rails. We're doing, yeah. Justin Ross, we may re-sign him. You never know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. We're going to do a lot of talk about free agency, and we're going to continue doing a lot of stuff about the draft. So the Lions went from licking swing sets to biting kneecaps. We're doing well now. All right. All right, and we're going to end on that note. Guys, thanks everybody for joining in. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, I've seen a few new faces. Hit that subscribe. Do share this content. Do share this content. Try to get this community up and running and growing. I want fans from all 32 fan bases. So, guys, let's keep this up. Yeah. Justin Ross, he's coming back. And a lot of people, you and Bufa really liked this kid. He had first round talent. It was some medical issues, but he may surprise people and make the team. May start. Never know. In that case, we're going to wrap up. And Mike, before we leave here, man, any final thoughts or words?
Hey, it was great seeing the love in the chat. Love talking to you guys. It's been a lot of fun. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing some exciting things. We still got to work out everything, but draft night is going to be a blast. So, and yeah, we'll have people rotating in as guests, especially when your team makes a pick. Get some analysis on that from you. It's going to be fun. I don't know if I have my Mel Kiper down. I know I can do the hair, but I was blessed with that kind of hair. But yeah, man, look forward to it, and I'll be back soon, and we're going to have fun with this free agency because it's going to be wild. I have a feeling.
It is. It's going to be a great free agency, and it's going to be a fantastic draft. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you all next Friday.